Why do you think that just because you're nice to me, I owe you my body?
Learn what mansplaining is, and then stop doing it.
Why do you fucking this racist fucking male that doesn't stand for women's rights?
Is it your first instinct to doubt women who have been sexually violated or raped?
My balls! I don't want my balls sticking to my legs.
I kind of secretly hope to annoy some men.
How does it feel to enter
Pussy hat.
What brings you?
That sexual harassment. Slut walk. And so you
My thoughts on feminism. Modern-day feminism have gone away from the basics within feminism. As it started, it meant equality, having the same rights and opportunities no matter what gender you are born as. Most people agree with this. Today, however, it has changed. Feminism has evolved into a man-hating movement. Feminists think the inequality going on today in the West is only constructed by the white privileged man. Let me prove them wrong. The main argument within feminism is that women earn less, which is partly true, but doesn't give you the full picture. If you divide the total earnings with workers, you will find that for every 80 cents a woman earns, a man earns $1. But if women earns less without no explanation, why doesn't every corporation only hire women? I'm not a business leader, but it sounds pretty good to me. So what's missing? What this doesn't take in count is the different choices women and men make. Hours worked, position, and that women are more likely to stay home with children. Taking time away from work or cutting hours, both more common scenarios for mothers than fathers, hurts their earnings. When mothers later decide to work full-time again, they will naturally earn less than a man with the same work who decided to not stay home with the children. When taking these facts in count, it's no such thing as a wage gap between men and women. Men has more power than women. Yes, the most influential people in the world are most likely men. Yes, men are overrepresented in the corporate management. But it has nothing to do with male patriotism, who suppress women from rising to power. In the West, we don't live in a communist state. We have an open market where wage and position is determined by skills and the value an employee creates for a company. Let's be honest. Companies only care about making money, and whether a potential employee has a sausage between its legs or not is irrelevant. Feminists want women to have all the fancy high-paid jobs, which they think is protected by some sort of male patriotism, but they don't seem to want to talk about all the worst and dangerous jobs in the world that are done by men. But how about the rape culture that is going on in the United States? The Cambridge English Dictionary states that the culture is the way of life, especially the general customs and beliefs of a particular group of people at a particular time. That should be enough to answer this, but to get to my point clearer, ask yourself this question. What do we do with rapists? We put them in jail, where they often get a taste of prison justice, and I'll tell you that the rapists are not living in peace with the inmates in the prisons. This isn't the case in all cultures though. Some Muslim countries allows a man to rape their slave women. It's actually stated in the Quran. Also, rape victims are sometimes killed to restore honor to the family's name. That's what I call rape culture. And when these people migrate to the West, there's obviously a clash of cultures. Female suppression and disadvantages doesn't exist or very little in the West, but there is no doubt that Islam has a different point of view on women's rights. Why don't these so-called left-wing feminists talk about the different groups of women that actually are seen as inferior and where they are given lower values than men? And these feminists are the same people who screams out racist to anyone addressing that Islam has a different view of the world than we. Self-acceptance is another part of this third-wave feminism. In short, it's about accepting how you look as a female and go against the beauty ideals. However, some of these feminists take this too extreme when their body size becomes a health problem. The answer to this is often that they live a healthy lifestyle, but that lifestyle doesn't reflect body shape since everyone is different. Well, I tell you what, if you are suffering from obesity, which is a disease, you're not a healthy person. Even though there are rare cases of men and women who, due to lack of some body functions, easily put on weight. If feminism is about equality, why is not the fact that males account for 7 out of 10 suicides addressed when talking about feminism? Or that girls make higher grades in every level of education? Or that women have a lower college dropout rate than men? And what is the so-called white man patriotism doing about this? And what are they doing about the fact that 97% of all employees who die at work are men? Look, I don't want to sit here and feel bad for myself for being a man. My point is that men also have disadvantages, but unlike women, it is not talked about when bringing up equality. Instead of painting up no fact-based propaganda and increase the gender gap, let's actually address the real issues of which women suffer from. For example, the domestic violence against women. Imagine the support the feminist movement would have if they was only about equality and talked about disadvantages in both genders. Then we could start solving the problems. But what happens now is that more and more men and women take a distance away from the obese, screaming women with an illusional perception of reality.